Hello, y'all. It's your boy AJR here, back with another video. We're going to continue with Bitcoin. Um, yeah, let's talk about it. Right, African Bitcoin Conference in Nairobi, Kenya, June 24th through June 25th, 2026, at the Ask Dome in Jamhuri Park. They will be talking about just practical Bitcoin adoption, learning how to use Bitcoin. Africa is now getting acquainted slowly. More people are joining along. Sometimes they have Americans come in and speak to the people. And Africa is starting to go to different, the African Bitcoin Conference is starting to go to different countries in Africa. There's also a Bitcoin African Conference in Malawi. The city is called Blantyre. I don't know if I said that right, but that will be December 2nd through 5th, 2026. So Africa is just slowly but surely getting along with this. They have websites. There's first of all, the founder of the African Bitcoin Conference was in the God Bless Bitcoin documentary. Her name is Farida Naborima. Hopefully, there are some nonprofits in Africa where they teach people practical skills, teach them how to receive and send Bitcoin, teach them how to use their wallets, teach them how to buy, teach them skills in life in order, in order to gain value and then buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin Educational Hub. It's located in Kampala, Uganda. The CEO, Paul Berche, he's the CEO. He also goes back and forth from Eritrea. I have to post a picture. There's a nonprofit, the Bitcoin Transformation Community. Che, he's the CEO, co-founder. Justin Rhetoric, the co-founder, he teaches incarcerated folks, people who've been in jail, people who can't get regular jobs. He teaches them skills in order to earn income, value, and then he teaches them. He actually goes to the prisons and teaches them about Bitcoin, teaches them how to use the basic things. He's based off in Las Vegas, Nevada, but he has traveled to places like Nairobi in order to talk about these things. We will have a new Fed chair, a Federal Reserve chair. Jerome Powell will be done May 15th. Kevin Warsh, who has worked in the office, not as a chair, but another position, has worked as a governor, will be taking his place May 15th. This is significant because Jerome Powell and Donald Trump, allegedly, some back and forth, did not get along. Donald Trump wanted Jerome Powell to cut rates because this is allegedly, because they're not going to admit it, but in public. But he wanted Jerome Powell to cut rates so assets can go up. So asset prices can go up. Jerome Powell didn't think that was a good idea. A little back and forth. Jerome Powell accused Donald Trump of trying to get him arrested, trying to get him fired, this and that. Supposedly, Donald Trump likes Kevin Warsh. Kevin Warsh is expected to bring a more market-aligned approach. He is considered one of the, if not the wealthiest Fed chair in history. So it's assumed he might tend to lean on the side of assets and people with money and people who have their money and assets, basically. And Kevin Warsh also talks about, he has a couple interviews where he talks about, after he's been hired, what he plans to do, what he thinks the Fed is doing wrong, the House, and how he plans to basically run his new system.
I think, listen, my sense is that this is, we're at the forefront. We're at a transformational moment in U.S. economic history. This is, as George Shultz told me before he passed, a hinge point in history. I think the president's language is this could be a golden age. And frankly, I think they all could be right. Good policies could advance this U.S. economy, what we call AI. In a couple of years, we'll just call business. And AI is going to make almost everything cost less. And the U.S. can be a big winner. And it's a hugely exciting moment. If I were to step back for a minute, if I were the president, what I'd be worried about is a central bank that doesn't see any of that. A central bank that is stuck with models from 1978, governance from a prior period, and don't recognize we could be at the front end of a productivity boom. And if I were the president, I'd be worried that they might not see it. And they might think economic growth is somehow going to be inflationary. I think we were probably in the early innings of a structural decline in prices. Ken sees it on the front lines of real businesses. And
Cynthia, who works in the Senate, spoke on how she and the House plans on getting the Clarity Act signed in May, which is this month. They've had issues because the Democrats didn't like the Genius Act. Democrats have questions about the security, the safety, the intentions of people during digital, using digital markets. And she actually spoke on it at the Bitcoin conference this year, just this month. If you want to take a look.
Story is with a lot of time and a lot of patience. And I'm running out of both. The first thing we encountered was traditional banking opposing the Clarity Act because they didn't like the Genius Act. So we're having to relitigate the Genius Act while we move forward on Clarity. We're also dealing with concerns that digital assets will be used to finance criminal activities. And that is a cross we have to bear simply because people don't understand that it's easier to solve crimes in digital assets than it is fiat currency. These continue to be some of the issues that vex us. Ethics is another issue that we've encountered. That one we're bringing to a close. And there have been several others in DeFi and tokenization. Well, for taking me on this journey with you. I want to thank you for the tremendous opportunity to craft legislation in Washington. We are going to mark up the Clarity Act in May. We are going to get it to the finish line. We are going to have the market structure that allows us to innovate, you to innovate, America to lead the world on this freedom asset. God bless you. Thank you very much.
There's going to be a new Fed chair roughly around May 15th. He's market friendly. He's supposedly in good terms with Trump. Trump wants assets to rise. He's said that plenty of times. So it's important because the Fed chair, the lower the interest rate, the likely the higher assets will rise that people put their money in as a vehicle to earn value, earn wealth. The higher the interest rates, which Trump didn't like about Jerome Powell, tends to the lower assets will fall. So the market responds to news, responds to whales, adoption, and cycles. So this is important because the market is going to respond to Kevin Warsh coming into office. So you might want to get in and even if it's a little bit, putting away a bill. You know how you pay for bills every month? Put away a little bit in Bitcoin. That's because this is, Kevin Walsh already says, an economic boom. We are in historic times. And assets are going to rise as the dollar continues to fall. We just got word of Cynthia saying they're going to pass the Clarity Act. Genius Act has already been passed. She states they're going to pass it this month in May. It's May right now. So those are two indicators. You might want to get in position or even get in if you haven't got in yet because of what's going to happen. The market responding to these news coming out, and it could be a good thing. Last but not least, again, the news is not going to come out and tell you how much each country is owning and how much, but I just want to show you a chart of how many countries are currently owning. There might be more, but this is just the top that own it. The people are supposed to, this is people's money, it's supposed to be the regular citizens. And countries are accumulating, and I don't see Africa anywhere on that list, which is they might want to get on board with what's going on or get left behind. Just saying. Again, use Bitcoin as a savings. You can buy. You don't have to buy a whole coin. You can buy fractions called satoshis. DCA, dollar cost average. Yeah, treat it like you pay a bill. Pay it. Put a little bit in. However much you can afford. It's not a race. Everybody puts in what they can afford. Your own goal, like how do you want to use Bitcoin to help you? The more you learn about Bitcoin, the more discipline you'll get into it, and that way you don't sell for profit all the time. If you're going to sell because you need some money, it has to be like make sure it's important because this is a long game. You're thinking long term, and if you just stay down and just stay consistent at it, this cycle is supposed to be called the super cycle. We hear all types of Bitcoin scholars talking about how this is supposed to take an effect. They analyze the market different ways, patterns. They analyze it by adoption. They analyze it by news. So it's important to just look at all the factors. We've seen the president say a few words and the market reacts right away, to the fact where everybody kind of just like, oh, I'm trying to do this because he's done it so much. So you just have to be aware of all things going on and just keep learning about it. And again, African Bitcoin Conference, the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, market friendly. He's not a fan of inflation, innovation, doesn't want to do things old way. He's saying this is a new economy. You got Cynthia talking about the Clarity Act and how it's getting passed this month in May. When the Clarity Act passes, banks, institutions will be able to buy and lend crypto, Bitcoin. We got AI in the future potentially getting in the mix. And then I showed you a list of the countries who hold Bitcoin, US being at the top of it. But when are you ever going to hear them come out and say, hey, we own this much? They're going to own it. But if you do your research, you can get ahead of the game. And what else? Yeah, that's it for this video. And I think that's it. I'll catch you on the next one. AJR, I'm out. Peace, love, and blessings. Feels good today. I probably shouldn't have kept the window open, but oh well.